My name is Lorrie. Let me show you today what we are creating in our embellishment series for Upskill Mondays. Let's take a look at today's project. And today we are going to construct this lovely buttonhole fan with a chain stitch and, of course, a couple of beads. Let me show you how we do this. So just a second ago, you saw this finished block and how it looks. Now I'm going to show you how I got to that point. So here it is, nice and clean and ready to start. The before, if you will. And to get my shape, you've seen me use this index card template before. But this makes it a little difficult. So I have been experimenting, and I'll show you. It's hard to see because I cut off the edge. But I transferred those marks onto here and I put a straight baseline because the buttonhole stitch needs a straight baseline to do the stitch. So part of what I will be marking is a straight line, and then I will need to do some other marking. I'm going to mark in black if I can. And I'm going to do this at sort of an angle. So let me draw my baseline for my buttonhole stitch. And then I'm going to use my deeper scallops. I deepen some of the scallops so that they would show up. And I'm going to draw them on both sides, but I am not going to do the scallops on both sides. So now I have a baseline and I have a scallop, an edge to do buttonhole stitch. So I've transferred, and this piece of plastic was just it was the lid to a box or something flat. It's a little bit thicker than the kind they use for overhead transparencies. And I have another scrap here too. It's hard to see because it's see-through, but now I have a second scallop pattern for my embroidery. I want a thread with a good contrast. I have some great golds in this box. It would look good here. Probably have some lighter lavenders too, that because this flower is so much pink and lavender, I think it would look great with some pink and lavender highlights of some sort. I like that dark pink. I can match that pretty well for the flowers, or for the fans. I think that will be great contrast. As per usual, I am using 3 strands of floss. If you want a thicker stitch, you could use more. I'm using a slightly bigger eyed needle so that I can get all 3 of those strands in there easily. And now for the buttonhole stitch. That is where I am starting. Now remember, to do buttonhole stitch, you start in one spot and then you make a loop and you go to the opposite and then back to the side where you want the line. I want a little bit of space between these. I'm starting out at the line. You see why I drew the line here. So it's easy. I mean, you can eyeball this. It turns out just as cute when you eyeball it. But for demonstration purposes, I think it's easier keep it a little bit straighter if I draw my lines. So you see the just of this stitch, and my solid line is going right down through the middle. And because I'm not using a hoop, I want to be careful not to pull too hard because I don't want to distort my stitches. And in just a moment, because this stitch goes so quickly, but you see how I could very easily use 6 strands and get a nice wide, heavy stitch, and it would still look wonderful. Now that is the last stitch I'm putting on this side. Now I'm going to switch to the other side for my buttonhole stitch, and I'm just going to turn it around and use my arch that I drew on the other side. And it just continues right on down the line. If you want to put a stay stitch in there, you can, or not. It really won't matter. It will stay there either way. And as always, this looks so much better once you get those lines off there. But for right now, it is easier with the lines. I think this time I will put a stay stitch there. Then I'm just flipping it around and I'm doing another last little bit of buttonhole stitch. Well, when I started, I left a gap here, and I have decided that I want to fix that gap. I don't like that gap, so I'm going to add a slightly shorter little stitch right there. Just one, and it closes up that gap, and that takes care of that. Now, I think I'm going to add fans, but I'm going to add a chain stitch also so that it adds more interest and visual appeal. I think I want a slightly darker purple for that. Okay, now along that line, I'm going to add a chain stitch because it will add some depth and character to that buttonhole stitch and define the top of it even more. And remember, buttonhole stitch, you come up and down through the same hole and you catch your loop. Chain stitches, easy stuff, and it goes fairly quickly when you're not tangling or getting caught on your own hand or something like that. I love this contrast, the lighter and the slightly darker shade. This reminds me of the shape of a bridge. If you want to use the distance between your buttonhole stitches as the length of your chain, especially if you didn't draw a line, that is a great standard. Now that one I went down pretty far when I flipped over to the other side. So there it is with the chain stitch on both sides, but we are not done yet. We need some actual, I mean, those are kind of fan-like, but those are not the fans I have in mind. As you saw on the this finished block, I have fans opposite this bridge structure, the scallopy shell structure. I don't know what to call it. And I am going to add a bead, of course, because I can. And you know how I love my beads. If you are planning on anyone sitting on this or being covered by it, you might want to, if it's going to be used hard, you might want to use French knots. They look just as cute and they aren't as hard on the skin. So I'm going to go to the middle of my fan, or middle of my shape, and I'm going to make a fan out of lazy daisy stitches. And a lazy daisy is like a single chain stitch. And I'm going to go from the center every time. I can see the arch that I have drawn on there, so I know how big I can make it. Get away with it. I don't have to make it that big if I don't want to. And if I didn't want to leave this as open on this side, I could go back and do another color or this same color on the outside. Now, as I'm looking at this, I see a gap right there. My eye keeps coming back to that. So I can fill anything in that I want. And this one is going to get an extra fan blade because now my eye is not drawn to a gap. And because I am only using one bead, I'm going to use the bigger beads because I separated those out. So I think that I would love a yellow or an orange. There's a blue there that looks pretty good too. That blue, that blue. Oh, there's pinky, red. Oh, I do have some purple. It's going to be purple. I have this container of mixed. There's all kinds of purples in there. Some of these are pearls. They're not really seed beads. And some of them are rocaille beads. It just was whatever came in that combination. And these ones I see have a bigger hole in the bead. But I'm still going to use a matching thread. I only need 3 beads this time. And I'm going to go with this smallest dark purple. It shows up nicely. And there it is. Now that we have this one done, let's take a look at the other blocks that I've chosen for this week and pick some colors of thread. Now, while I'm looking at this bead had a nice wide line to go by. So as I was picking blocks, that was what I was hoping for, was a fairly wide line. And I think this block has that also. It has that in 2 places. It has space here and space here. I think I'm going to work on this space to do my up and down. And I think I'd like some green. We did green pearl cotton here, and we have some green here and green here. So I'm going to continue on with the green. A lighter green so we have good contrast. And then the fans, and I think I'll do a chain also. So let's match some green that will go as a chain to be a little bit of a contrast. I like that look. And then for flowers, I see we have pink, dark pink, a pink bead. Seems to be some pink going on here. But I am going to think that color pink will work well. Let me set these out of the way. I have a red block, and I think because of the shape of the wave, I can get it to work along here by going 2 and then maybe 2, and stopping when I get here. I like this contrast of this yellow. I really do. And this tan doesn't contrast as well. So I think a nice yellow will work. Those yellows are packed in there tight. That one's not quite as bright. Do I want to go wild and bright? I might. I like that one better, that darker tone goldish yellow for my buttonhole. And then let's do something wild for the fan. Let's go with a this with a purple give me good contrast in there because that doesn't give me very good contrast. It kind of blends in pretty well. So our choices, I usually go lighter. That shows up a little better. No, I didn't really think about this, but that is not going to work well there because you have structure. I have structure on both sides of the block. And, well, if I get the buttonhole here, see, that interferes with this, though. So I think I will go along this seam. And I think the yellow will still work for my fans. And I think the purple will still work for the chain stitch. And maybe this time I will add. And this is where technology becomes wonderful. The microphone shut itself off. So I will add some green to match that green. And there are the 3 colors that I'm going to use on this block. And now to choose the colors for this final block. You'll notice there's a seam, so I won't need to draw a line. I'll just need to draw my wavy lines in order to get started. I see a lot of blues and pinks in this block. I think pink will work nicely. And what other color should I use? Oh, look, purples and other colors of pink and blue. Nice bright blue. That dark pink is very nice. And I think I will use a lighter color of pink for the chain stitch. So here I have the 4 blocks that I need to do. The one that is finished with the purple and pink. And then the other 3 blocks that I will have for you on Friday. Make sure you stop by for Blabfest. Thank you for watching. I hope you give this combination stitch a try.